Hi everyone, welcome to Topic 6. Topic 6 is going to be covering production costs. Production costs are going to be focused on how a firm is looking at their cost of production. So for this week, there's a lot of different formulas that you can look at when we look at the cost of production. You'll notice that we're going to be looking at the role of profit. And profit is where total revenue minus total cost. That is where a firm is looking at their profit. You'll notice that a goal of a firm is to maximize their profit. And they do this through the minimization of their costs and the maximization of their revenue. Now let me go to this table to show you differences in the costs and what the costs are illustrating. All right, first thing we want to look at is called total cost. Total cost is the summation of fixed cost and variable cost. A fixed cost is a cost that does not change with output. So for example, let's say your rent payment. That's an example of a fixed cost. It doesn't matter how many days that you stay in your house a month, you pay the same fixed cost. Whereas variable costs are costs that change with output. So the more costs, or the more that we produce, the higher our cost. The more we drive, the higher the cost. Now, marginal cost is going to be the change in producing an additional unit of total cost. And I'm going to show you an example of this. If you look at total cost right here, you notice, let's make it real easy right here. Let's just say this is 0 bushel, this is 1 bushel. Let's just assume that. Total cost is 1,000 for 0 bushels. Why is total cost equal 1,000 when we produce nothing? Because of the presence of fixed costs. So 1,000 to 3,000, the change would be 2,000. That would be our marginal cost. Now, however, given that we go from 0 to 1,000, it's 2,000 divided by 1,000. So 2,000, which is 3 minus 2,000, 3,000 minus 1,000 equals 2,000, divided by the change in output, which is 1,000 minus 0. So 2,000 minus 1,000. The marginal cost is $2. Here's an example of the marginal cost curve. You'll notice that the curve is always upward sloping. So we notice that fixed costs are $1,000. When nothing is being produced, there is a presence of a fixed cost. Variable costs depend on what is being produced. Total cost equals fixed cost plus variable cost. Here's a good example of all three curves put together. Here's fixed cost, as it's always the same for all units of output. You notice that total cost is always increasing. The reason why total cost is always increasing is the presence of variable cost. Now, if we look at average fixed cost, when we look at average fixed cost, average variable cost, and average total cost, these are always going to be divided by output. So the totals divided by output. If you look at these, you notice that these costs for average fixed cost is always decreasing. Now when we look at average variable cost, you notice this U shape is going to occur, or that it's going to occur. So it starts to decrease and then it starts to increase. Average total cost is going to act the same way right here. Average total cost will start to decrease and then increase. Now when you put them all together, You have marginal cost, which is this line right here. You have average fixed cost, you have average total cost, and average variable cost. Now, you might not see this average fixed cost on all the lines, on all the graphs, I should say. The difference between average total and average variable cost are the fixed cost. Here's the marginal cost right here. So those are the costs of production that firms have to evaluate. Here's an example of a table that you might have to fill out. The easiest way to fill this out is, here's your variable cost. You notice that $50 is my total cost. So for the column you're missing is fixed cost. So if we put fixed cost right here, and you put that into that calculation, you'll notice that we need to evaluate. 0 would be for variable cost. So 10 plus 50, because 50 is going to be our variable cost, this would be 60. Then we would look at our marginal cost right here. So 80 plus 30 equals 110. So this right here would be 110 minus 50, which is 60. So those are the different types of calculations that you can look at. So now let's go over the quiz for topic 6. All right, so let's look at this topic. Now, accounting costs are going to equal total revenue minus explicit costs. Explicit costs are costs that we can actually calculate. Economic costs are going to be implicit costs of production. Implicit costs are classified as opportunity cost. Now, diminishing marginal product. To focus on marginal product, you want to focus on how much each worker produces. And these columns right here are not needed for, fixed, variable, and total cost are not needed. You want to create a new column that says marginal output. So the marginal output would be, when does the worker make less than the previous worker? So 0, so it'd be 90, 80, 60, 10. Which worker started to have a decline compared to the previous worker? Now, on this graph right here, there's going to be different labels. You're going to find the average fixed cost. Remember, average fixed cost is always decreasing. Here's that same graph. You're going to be looking at average total cost. Average total cost should be the highest U-shaped curve. Here's that graph again. You're going to be looking at marginal cost. Marginal cost is going to be that curve that is looking at, that goes through both of the curves. And when I mean both of the curves, I'm meaning both the average total cost, average fixed cost. Average total cost. To find the average total cost, it's the total cost divided by output. What is the fixed cost of production? To find the fixed cost, take this 38 right here, subtract it from 13. That gives you the fixed cost for all units of output. What is the total cost of producing 7 at this factory? So 7 units right here. So all you want to do is, you know the fixed cost, which is 38 minus 13. So we know the fixed cost right here is 25. So 25 plus 133, that would be the total cost right there. So those are the questions that you're going to see. If you have any questions on those, please let me know. But I look forward to your effort in your analysis for topic 6.